Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we will practice English together through a short and interesting story. Relax, listen carefully, and repeat after me. Today's story is about a young woman who thought she was just going home after a long day. It was late at night, and the city streets were almost empty. She decided to take a taxi because she felt tired and wanted to get home quickly.
At first, everything seemed normal.
The car was quiet, the lights moved slowly outside the window, and the driver said very little. But after a few minutes, she started to feel that something was not quite right. The driver looked strange, and the road they were taking did not feel familiar. She did not know if she was just imagining things, or if that night would become a story she would never forget.
My name is Esme, and I am 26 years old. I work long hours in a busy office in the city. And most days my life feels simple and predictable. Work, coffee, and quiet evenings at home. That night, I stayed late at work and missed the last bus. I felt tired, a little stressed, and all I wanted was to get home safely. I opened a taxi app and waited under the streetlights. When a black car stopped in front of me, I did not think much about it. The driver looked calm and said very little. At that moment, I had no idea that this quiet ride would become one of the strangest nights of my life. I sat in the back seat and quietly closed the door. The car smelled like rain and old leather, and soft music played from the radio. At first, everything felt normal. The city lights moved slowly outside the window, and I watched people walking home. The driver did not ask many questions. He only nodded when I told him my address. After a few minutes, I noticed that he was taking a different road than usual. I looked at my phone and checked the map again, maybe. It was just traffic, I thought, but something inside me felt a little uneasy. I wanted to speak, but the silence in the car felt heavy and strange. After a few minutes of silence, the driver suddenly spoke. "You work very late," he said quietly. His voice surprised me because I had not told him anything about my job. I looked up from my phone and felt a small chill run through me. "How do you know that?" I asked. He did not answer right away. Instead, he pointed at the office building behind us through the mirror. "I have seen you there before," he said. I tried to smile, but something about his tone felt unusual. Maybe it was just a coincidence. But the car suddenly felt smaller, and the silence became heavier than before. I looked out of the window and tried to calm myself. Maybe I was just tired. I thought. The streets were darker now, and fewer cars were around us. The taxi moved slowly through quiet roads I did not recognize. I checked the map on my phone again. The blue line showed a different direction from my usual route home. My heart began to beat faster. "Excuse me," I said softly. "Is this the fastest way?" The driver nodded but did not explain. His eyes stayed on the road, and his face looked serious in the mirror. I tried to start a normal conversation to make the silence feel lighter. "It's very quiet tonight," I said. He gave a small smile but said nothing more. The car turned onto a narrow street with old buildings and dim lights. For a moment, I thought about asking him to stop, but I did not want to sound rude or afraid. Instead, I held my phone tightly and watched the passing shadows outside. Then my phone lost signal for a few seconds. The map froze, and I felt a wave of panic rise in my chest. I took a slow breath and told myself to stay calm. Suddenly, the driver spoke again. "Don't worry," he said quietly. "We will be there soon." His words sounded kind, but something about the timing felt strange. I noticed a small photo hanging from the front mirror. It showed a young girl smiling in the sunlight. For the first time, I wondered if I had judged him too quickly. Maybe he was just a quiet person. The car slowed down near a traffic light. I looked outside and finally recognized a familiar street. Relief washed over me, but I still felt curious about the driver and his unusual silence. "Do you always drive this way?" I asked gently. He nodded and said, "Sometimes the longer road is the safer one." I did not fully understand what he meant, but his voice sounded calm and sincere. As we continued driving, the city lights grew brighter again. I felt my shoulders relax, and the heavy feeling in the car slowly disappeared. Maybe this strange ride was not something to fear, but something I would remember for a long time. The taxi finally stopped near my apartment building. I felt relieved, but I was still curious about the driver. Before I opened the door, he turned slightly and spoke again. "You looked worried during the ride," he said gently. "I'm sorry if I seemed strange. I just prefer quiet drives at night." Then he pointed at the small photo hanging from the mirror. "My daughter used to wait for me outside this building when she studied here," he explained. "That's why I recognized you from the office area. I drive this road often." Suddenly, everything made sense. The silence, the different route, even his calm voice. It was not something to fear. It was just a quiet person trying to do his job well. I thanked the driver and stepped out of the taxi with a small smile. The night air felt calm, and the city no longer seemed so dark or strange. As I walked toward my door, I thought about how quickly I had judged him without knowing his story. That ride taught me something important. Sometimes people seem strange only because we do not understand them yet. From that night on, I tried to look at the world with more patience and a little more kindness.
Great job finishing the story. Watch it again, repeat after me, and practice your English every day. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more English stories. Thank you for learning with me. See you next time.